Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Munye podcast. I am your host, Olega Joshua Jefferson, and this is our second episode. Today, we are talking about networking in Rotary. Is it a myth or is it a reality? Joined by me today is our one and only Impact President of the Mother Club of Rotary, Nalo Munye. I'd like to call him Mr., but there's always a title accompanying that. Mr. President, the one and only Ronald Oteng Moses. So I would like to take this opportunity to give him the platform to introduce to us who the man is. Who is he behind the title? Who is he in the face of leadership? Who is he in the face of Rotary? Mr. President, take it away.
Wow. Thank you very much, Joshua, for that wonderful introduction. I must say you've made me feel so big, and yet I'm very small in my ways. Yes, who is Moses Ronald Oteng? I'm the seventh president of the Rotary Club of Nalo Munye, and my journey in Rotary began in the year 2022. It was about July, so I'm almost making 4 years this July. And I was introduced to Rotary by Rotarian Godfrey Muhwezi. He's the one who invited me to Rotary, and I hold him in high esteem for that single act. Because if it wasn't for him inviting me to Rotary,
There would be no way.
there'd be no president,
Yes.
seventh
At this
president
point.
at this point. Yeah, so very glad to be here. In terms of my other work outside Rotary, I'm working in the oil and gas sector. Okay, currently I'm in the corporate affairs department, where I'm the deputy head, and that's my work outside Rotary. I'm also a community leader outside Rotary. I'm the chairperson of the Nalo Munye Kwagalana Association. It's a group of 50 families, and all we do is to celebrate family, celebrate life, with our children and our spouses. That's really it. And aside from that, I'm also married to a Rotarian. Rotarian Josephine Anying is my dear wife. And together we have 4 children. We're blessed with 4 children. Yeah, who again go to school within Nalo Munye community here. Yeah.
See, ladies and gentlemen, there are very, very rare occasions where you have someone who happens to be community-centered, family-oriented, career-centered, and he happens to be the entire package in one. Ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be a very, very interesting session. So, Mr. President, most people take up actions after they have been inspired by something. So you talked about Rotarian Muhwezi, who brought you into Rotary. I believe that was a push factor.
Yes.
So aside from that push factor, do we have another driving force of inspiration that pushes you day in, day out for you to work in the Rotary community?
Right. So many things inspire me, but above all, it's having the ability to make a difference in someone's life. And I think that is what Rotary
Is all about.
Is all about.
Yes.
Because you're able to make a child who was not able to access school be able to do so.
School, yes.
Or if a community has challenges with accessing clean water through Rotary, you're able to intervene and change that situation. The other is, let's say in the health center, mothers who are unable to access proper medical care, they're able to do that through intervention of Rotary. So for me, that is the driving factor, okay? The fact that as a Rotarian, I'm able to contribute the little that I have, okay? My time, my resources, my professional skills, okay?
Yes.
We have doctors and health professionals in our club, and those are individuals who are able to give their time and skills and knowledge to these causes that I've mentioned. So that in itself is a big inspiration for me. Yeah. So aside from the doctors, we also have professionals like persons in the academia. We have lecturers in the university. We have social scientists. We have communicators. We have marketers. So all of these professions, when they come together in a club setting, they're able to contribute their individual unique skills, okay, towards, say, a project. And then we're able to implement it so well because of the contribution of each of these members.
So we see right now that we are one-on-one with a gentleman that happens to be not just an active member of the community, not just an active member in his career path, and not just a family-oriented man, but someone who we could categorize as a vision bearer. Given that classification, we need more enlightenment in regards to the topic at hand. So, Mr. President, when we're to talk about networking in these spaces, would you define for us what networking looks like in the concept of Rotary?
Thank you. So within Rotary, and I need to mention this, that Rotary is an organization that was started in 1905 by a gentleman called Paul Harris. Now, Paul Harris and his fellow businessmen, okay, he was an attorney, they came together, okay, to start what we know now as Rotary, okay? So networking can be defined as, people coming together, okay, for a particular cause or several causes, but with a defined goal in mind, okay? So these individuals came together, and through the course of time, because they were relating, they developed trust amongst each other, and in so doing, they were able to do amazing things. One of the first projects that they implemented was a wash project in Chicago. Okay, so they came together, put together resources, their skills and knowledge, and they were able to build a toilet facility in Chicago, and that became the very first service project of Rotary.
Implemented.
Yes. So that's how I can define networking. That individuals coming together, or you knowing somebody or knowing several people in different spaces, and through that knowledge and the trust built over time, you're able to elicit support from those networks to then be able to achieve a certain cause or goal that you have in mind. Yeah.
So what we see right now is that for the concept of networking in Rotary, it not only rotates around the business aspect of things, it not only rotates around the hobby aspects of things, but it is something that is going to rotate around the interest. It's something that's going to rotate around a common goal that must be achieved at the end of the day.
Yes.
So this leads me to another follow-up in this case. So do you believe that Rotary is a concept that in of itself represents networking, or it is overly exaggerated by the masses that may not be aware of what happens in these spaces?
So the thing is, in Rotary, because as I explained at the beginning, you have diverse professionals who are coming together in this space that we call Rotary. So each of them, okay, depending on what their goal is or their mission is in that in the organization of Rotary, but we believe that each of them is able to contribute to the greater whole. And why do I say that? You have the doctors, you have the engineers, you have the social workers, you have the teachers. Okay, so all of these people, they come together. But you see, why some people would like to think that Rotary or the networking in Rotary is a myth is because they have not fully taken advantage of the opportunities that exist in Rotary. Okay? I'll tell you, if I break this down to the club setting, and this is where most of the activities happen in Rotary, at the club level. That is the smallest unit.
The smallest unit.
Yeah, the way you see in society, we have the family as the smallest planning unit. So in Rotary, we have the club. It's at the club level where all the magic happens. Okay? So if I may, so these individuals will come into that space, and on a weekly basis, we have fellowship. So imagine this Rotarian who walks into that fellowship every weekday. In the case of Rotary Club of Munye, we meet every Wednesday at 7 p.m. So imagine this Rotarian, this member who comes in, and all they do is sit through the fellowship for 1 hour, and then they leave immediately after.
It doesn't necessarily give a practical aspect.
Then think of another member who comes into fellowship, okay? For the 1 hour, he attends fellowship, but then after fellowship, he sits down to interact with the other Rotarians who are probably also still around in that space. And then he's able to share more about what he does, or what challenge he's going through, or even whatever support he needs from maybe another Rotarian who is in
The particular
in a
space they're
particular
in.
space they are in,
Yes, yes, yes.
maybe a banker or a corporate entity, So Rotary gives us that space, but at the end of the day, it's up to the individual to make
have
that
the
effort,
initiative.
have the initiative of reaching out to Joshua, reaching out to Derek, to Moses, and saying, "Look, I have this thing that's coming up in my space. Would you be able to lend a hand?" Now that is how the network starts to
is
develop.
built, yes.
Because over time you then develop the trust and the confidence in the individual, yeah, and then you're able to progress with whatever you're planning to do.
You see, on that very regard, we see that you have properly or in detail explained the practicality of networking in a Rotary space.
Yes.
So now the viewers must be interested in something that is along the lines of, is there a particular occasion where you could tell us and the viewers where you have gotten or where you have received a connection through an interaction in Rotary, and maybe this connection pushed you forward in regards to your career, pushed you forward in regards to any other sphere that you are willing to share with us?
Thank you. I will start with the one that I've experienced, and then I'll come to my own. Now, sometime last year, okay, one of the acquaintances to my dear wife contacted her because they needed blood. Okay, she was expecting and she needed the blood at the hospital. When they went to the hospital, there was no blood. Okay, for that particular blood type was missing. So
See,
what she did?
Sorry for the cut short.
Yes.
There's this very disturbing, can I call it, shortage of blood in our communities, in our hospitals, and we are glad to share that very many clubs normally come together to cure that shortage, and we're very thankful for people that take the step forward to do that.
Indeed, Rotarians, being people of action, have always taken the initiative to donate blood, to run blood donation drives, and in fact, on the 1st of July, that's next week, we're going to be having a mega blood donation drive, okay, throughout the entire district, and it's intended to add to the stock of blood available in the country. So that is it. But going back to the point I was making, the scenario. Now, this lady needed blood and they were at the hospital. So she reached out to my dear wife to say, you know what, we're in hospital, we are stuck. They're saying this particular blood type is not there. So just that message she sent to her was able to trigger a chain of reactions. Okay? Number one, she posted this message on our group, and a member picked it up and contacted another Rotarian in another club, who then was able to get in touch with somebody at the blood bank. And I can tell you, within a very short time, that particular blood type was found and delivered to the hospital, and the lady was able to undergo surgery, and delivery was successful. So that's one example I can give. The other, which is also related, is a club member. Again, this was towards the end of last year. Had her relatives in Kenya at the Aga Khan, I think Aga Khan Hospital, the Aga Khan Hospital, if I recall, and they needed blood too, but they didn't know what to do in Nairobi, where they were. So they reached out to our club member, and the club member came to our group. Again, she posted that message, and because I had met a Rotarian from Kenya several months back, I reached out to that Rotarian, who happened to be a past president in her club. I reached out to her with a flyer and said, look, there's this relative of a member of our club who needs urgent blood in the hospital. And I sent the flyer with all the contact details. So that past president, who is based in Nairobi, was able to, through her networks, she was able to contact Rotarians and Rotaractors, and blood was delivered. They needed 10 pints of blood.
That's a lot. That's a lot of blood. That's a lot of blood.
So she was able to connect through the Rotarians in Nairobi and the Rotaractors, and blood was safely delivered to that child that needed it. So this is some of the networks or the realities that happen to Rotarians as we go about with our work.
You see,
Now, if I may talk about my personal,
yes, that's where we're going.
Where we're going.
That's what the viewers want. That personal.
Yes. So Recently we had our installation,
Yeah.
okay, for the Rotary Club, and we were stuck in these planning meetings, trying to tick every box, make sure everything is in place.
Very tedious process.
Very tedious process, as you can imagine. We started planning in February. The installation took place in May, so 3 months of careful planning. But I can tell you, one of the items we had on our checklist was the requirement for an ambulance and medical services, medical personnel on site.
Yes.
Because I honestly believe that if you have a gathering of more than even 5 people, you need to have at least planning for contingency.
Yes, that's very
Someone
true.
can take ill at any point in time. So we needed an ambulance and standby medical personnel. So while we were there, planning and, attaching budget to all these things, one of our members on the committee, who happens to be a doctor, okay, suggested that, there are people that I know who could easily come through with these items. So what she did, she purposely went and attended their fellowship a week before. And once she attended that fellowship, she was able to introduce herself as a Rotarian from the Rotary Club of Munye. We're known for many things out there, but positive things.
Of course.
Yes.
They're all positive. Yes.
So once she introduced herself and the members got to know her, I'd already engaged the president prior, so it was a matter of us showing face. And I'll tell you why it's important to show up or show face in these activities. So once she introduced herself and said she's from the Rotary Club of Munye, then she engaged with the club president and the members. Do you know we're able to get those services free of charge?
And that is very difficult
from that Rotary Club,
Yes, it's very difficult to get those emergency services
very
free of
difficult,
charge.
very difficult.
Yes.
So for my installation, we had medical personnel on site, plus a standby ambulance, to evacuate whoever had medical challenges.
Anything.
And I can tell you that is one thing that really touched me. Yeah.
So that's the practicality
So
that
that's
you've been telling us
that's
about.
the practicality of networking in Rotary.
Now, you see, stemming from your own personal experience, Mr. President, the other thing that the viewers need to understand, or the viewers might be asking themselves, is, you see, when people talk about the concept of networking, they think of it in this sort of concept. It is meet Mr. Moses, tell him my name, give him my phone number, and then that is it. But what is that, can I say, hidden touch that gives meaning to networking?
All right. So to answer you, it's not enough for one to just share their business card or their phone number with an individual and you assume that you already have a network. I think it goes far beyond that. It's about being intentional. Okay. Let's say I walk into a club fellowship. Okay. And I meet this individual. Okay. We'll exchange numbers, but it needs to go beyond that. Find out what the person does. Where do they live, for example? Do they have children? You're trying to be as
natural as possible.
As natural as possible, but also to know more about the person, Because like I said, networks are built on trust to make sure that the relationship is actually cemented. There has to be an element of trust, okay? Confidence in the individual, then the person will open up with time. Yeah. An example is when you are courting a girl. Let's use that example, Joshua. And I don't know if you're married yet. But in the process of courtship, okay, sometimes you will present your best foot forward, not so.
As always. It's
a
logical thing.
You put your best foot forward, So at this person is like, okay, maybe let me give him a chance, The lady is in the audience, Let me give this guy a chance. Okay? And of course, with time, you'll build that trust and confidence, and you'll naturally like the person.
Yes.
Okay? So that is one way I could say networks are built. The other aspect is in Rotary, one of the objects of Rotary is about acquaintances.
Yeah.
Do we really know what acquaintances mean?
People normally
Okay.
do not draw the line between acquaintances, friendships,
Yes,
and other relationships
yes.
of all the sorts.
So that is the bedrock of our service in Rotary. I need to first be acquainted with you for me to be able to develop that trust, that confidence that you're going to do whatever you intend to do. Okay, and that is the way Rotary has been able to grow and expand over these years.
Overall,
Because membership, as you know, is the number one pillar for Rotary. But within those members that constitute Rotary, there are acquaintances, there are relationships formed, there are bonds. Okay, at club level, we have buddy groups. Within buddy groups, there are even stronger and innate bonds that join these people together.
Yes.
We have heard of the Rotary action groups.
Yes,
okay,
yes,
or
we have.
Rotary fellowships. There's a Rotary fellowship for women. There's a Rotary fellowship for camping. Okay, these are Rotarians who meet, and every so often they have camping experiences. They leave the comfort of the hotel rooms and sleep in tents, but for a cause. At the end of the day, whatever monies come out of those camping expeditions, they use that to purchase equipment, medical equipment, to address
a particular
health
issue.
challenges.
Yes.
So you can see that at the bottom line is the networks, and the relationship that exists between members in the club. So that's how I can address that particular question of yours, Joshua.
Okay, so what we see right now is that we have properly addressed the nature of networking, how to make it practical. We have also addressed to ourselves how to make it meaningful, because there is a very clear line difference between making something practical and making something meaningful. So with that at the back of our minds, we need to understand something else. You see, the nature of the human mind is that provided there is something it does not completely comprehend, there has to be a misconception that backs that misunderstanding.
Yeah.
So, Mr. President, what are some of those misconceptions that people have? We have a few where people say that Rotary is only for rich people. You must know an influential person in society to join Rotary, or it's only for business owners, and so on and so forth. So would you mind debunking some of these misconceptions so that our viewers might have a very clear picture of the entire enterprise?
Thank you. So and again, that is one of the myths that exist out there.
Yes.
That Rotary is an organization for only the rich, okay, which in fact is not entirely true, because within the Rotary structure, like I mentioned, there are all kinds of professionals.
Yes.
Okay, all kinds of professionals. We also have Rotaractors. Okay. Rotaractors also form part of the Rotary Global Network. And these are individuals who are contributing to the Rotary space. So that is not entirely true to say that it's an organization for the rich. Okay? Because in Rotary, within your means, you contribute within your means to the extent possible. You might contribute $1 or $2, depending on your capacity. Another individual might be able to contribute $1,000 or $1 million,
These are the PHFs, eh?
The PHFs that we know about, $1,000.
Yes, sir.
We have the major donors who contribute up to $10,000 US. We have the Arch Club Society members who contribute up to a tune of $250,000 US. So, depending on your capability, you contribute to the extent that you possibly can.
Yes.
So, there's no reason whatsoever for members of the public to think this is an organization that is only meant for the rich. I know that in Rotary, giving is a requirement. Okay.
Yes.
You have to be able to give, because for you to receive, you have to give. That is the fundamental principle.
It's in the
Bible, So the more you give, the more you receive. And that's a fundamental principle. But so it's not true that it's an organization for only the rich. The other misconception that people have, okay, and I want to talk about this succinctly, is that Rotary, okay, Rotary is let's say, a cult, okay? And I've had this in many spaces that it is a cult, okay? Which is not true.
No, it's
not true.
It's not true.
The norms that we recite at the beginning of every fellowship are meant to remind us as Rotarians, or Rotaractors for that matter, of our values, okay? Let's talk about the four-way test, for example.
Yes.
You're saying, of the things I think,
and
say, or do,
Yes.
number one, is it the truth? You're asking yourself, it's like,
it the truth?
it's a self-introspection. Is it the truth? Number two, is it fair to all concerned? Okay? Then thirdly, will it build goodwill and better friendships?
Yes.
And then fourthly, will it be beneficial to all concerned? So this is like a self-check. You know, you're looking at yourself in the mirror every time we start our fellowship. We as Rotarians, we look at ourselves in the mirror and ask these hard questions. The four-way test. Yeah.
So that's not even how cults
so
work.
it is not cultic at all. It is not cultic. It's not a cult or of any sorts. We're just reminding ourselves that these are the values we stand for. And as Rotarians, in whatever we think, say, or do, we must always observe these values. Okay?
Yes.
Now, the other myth, and this has gone on in many circles, is that this is an organization, where people join, to do all kinds of bad things, things that are seen as immoral behavior, this is another myth. But at the end of the day, we look back at the four-way test, but also what our individual goals are in Rotary. Why did you join Rotary in the first place? Was it your goal to go and mess around, be immoral, in society?
No.
Not at all. Not at all. So it comes down to the individual. So one individual might do something like that, and then members of the society see that individual, and then they use it as a blanket to assume that this entire organization
is identified in
is
that way.
built on those immoral things that people do, okay? Which is not true. It's not true at all. Rotarians are people of integrity. They are people of moral turpitude. They are highly respected business and professional members of our communities. Everywhere, that you see Rotarians, you realize that the way they do their things and the way they carry themselves is totally different. Totally different. I can tell you that Rotary is one of those organizations in the world that has been ranked by the Charity Navigator. Okay? And its ranking has been, 4-star ranking for Rotary for like 11 years consecutively.
Not even the BET has such a ranking.
Not at all.
They don't.
So that tells you something about the organization that we serve.
Yes.
That it is there. It's top-notch organization. And whoever becomes a Rotarian and you wear that pin, that badge, it's a badge of honor. When you're being inducted, they tell you to wear it with pride. Wear it with pride and carry it wherever you go. Because you don't know what door or what window it's going to open for you at the end of the day. Yeah, so that's what I can say for...
Now, you see, on the topic of doors and windows,
yes,
our lines of questioning normally stem from the response of guests.
Yes.
You see, now the young viewers must be asking themselves, how... Not how, but is it correct to assume that for a young professional out there, a Rotary or Rotaract space can be a way to advance your career? And if so, could you briefly tell us how that can be achieved, if we may say?
All right, thank you. So, to speak to that, a young viewer out there who wishes to join this organization should first of all have a positive mindset, okay? It's important to be positive about how you look at things, but also the willingness to learn, okay? Rotary is a rather complex organization, and the way it's structured is also quite different. So for the younger ones who are still in, let's say, secondary school, they could look at joining the Interact Club. Okay, we have interact clubs in a number of schools.
Yes.
Yeah,
we
they
do, we do.
could join those clubs and try to participate in their activities. That will be one foot in the right direction. The other is through Rotaract. Rotaract for those in university, but also recently graduated, they could take up those opportunities and join those clubs, Interact Club, Rotaract Club, and Rotary. There's no limitation really.
Yes.
But the thing is, once you join these entities, you are then able to exercise, your passion. You're able to contribute to the causes, the different causes, and in so doing, there will be personal growth, personal development, but also by joining these institutions, one can get the opportunity of, getting your next job for one who is looking for a job. I mean, Rotarians are people of action. They are compassionate, and you never know. A Rotarian can pick you up and say, look, I have an opening in my organization. Come and do for me this work. Having identified you, volunteering or offering your service and your time, your expertise in a particular area. So the opportunities are immense for our viewers out there who would wish to know more about this organization. Approach a Rotary club near you, approach a Rotary club near you, or even an Interact club for those in high school, and start to develop and appreciate bit by bit what this organization is all about.
Now, there is something else that we need to get into more or less in detail, but we can also wrap it up a little bit. So we have seen the personal benefit that will come from joining these enterprises, from volunteering in these enterprises, and so on and so forth. But at what point do we stop seeing this whole concept of Rotary and the networking concept transforming from the personal benefits someone might get to how this is going to better the community in the long run?
Now, because Rotarians and Rotaractors are people of action, that means there's usually a cause
that brings them together.
I'll give an example of our community here in Munye. Okay? Recently, we had an issue with the community water source, and our Rotary Club of Munye intervened, and a buddy group, this was actually a buddy group-led project, pulled together resources, and they rehabilitated this community well, which is serving over 1,000 households in our community. Now, that is the kind of impact we're talking about. The other is at Chitevi Health Center 3. We went there, did a needs assessment, and established that our patients who are accessing the medical facility, they didn't have a triage center, where they could be attended to before being referred to either the laboratory or any other space within the center. So we intervened. We found they were using a makeshift tent, which was subject to all the vagaries of nature. It could easily be blown off by wind in case of strong rains, but also other people were sitting in the sun. So we, as a club of Munye, we intervened and constructed this triage center. Now the patients are happy. They are, receiving all the support they can get with dignity. I think dignity is one thing that's very key in the medical space.
Very important.
They have some privacy because we gave some patient screens there as well. And, this is a kind of impact
that we are
looking forward to. And it's all because of the efforts of Rotarians and Rotaractors who come together, pool resources. They give their skills, their expertise, to these causes, and we're then able to cause an impact in the lives of the communities where we do these projects.
See, so this drives me down to another very important thing. So, Mr. President, stemming from the concept of impact, as a newly installed president, what sort of environment are you creating that is going to bolster the concept of networking, that is going to bolster the concept of impact around your community? What sort of foundation do you want to lay for us in this impact here that is going to make sure that various concepts are going to be pushed to their completion?
Thank you. So, sticking with our club, in this impact year. And our governor has been very intentional about the theme for this impact year. It says each one engage for impact. Okay?
It's even written there.
It's written there. Right there. Yes. So what this means is it's not going to be enough for us to be Rotarians or Rotaractors in our different clubs and we just fold our hands. Okay? What this means is we need to, as a president, I need to ensure that my club members, okay, are committing to doing something in the impact year, okay? Be it bringing on board a new club member or contributing to the Rotary Foundation or even participating in a service project, okay? Or even at fellowship, welcoming guests that come for our fellowship. That in itself is a commitment. You say, for me as Joshua, in the impact year, I'm going to bring two new members, and that is your commitment.
I already brought that.
You already brought that one. Well done. So that is the clarion call from our governor, that we need to make sure that each and every member in our clubs is engaged. At least they are doing something. Be it the minutest thing. If it's welcoming guests to the fellowship, they are going to do that. Okay, so it's through that. And based on the principle of the sum of individual parts leads to the overall, each of those individual efforts by the Rotarian and Rotaractor, we believe will contribute to the greater whole, for the club. Whatever project we're going to implement, we'll see that all the members are actively participating in one way or another. Either they are contributing to the project funding or they are giving their time and expertise as professionals, maybe as an engineer or a doctor, they're giving their time and professional expertise, and so on and so forth. So that is what we mean by engagement, and that is going to be a central focus for this impact year to ensure that we deliver on all our projects that we have planned for the impact year.
So, with that very detailed overview, given that,
Yes.
we are now going into a very interesting segment of this podcast. It happens to be a rapid fire.
Rapid fire.
Yes,
Oh.
a rapid fire segment.
Wow.
So for this sort of segment or this sort of engagement, we are going to give you two conflicting loyalties. So what happens is you have 3 seconds to pick between one. No explanations, just pick within one, right?
Right.
So for this, at times it might not be a conflicting loyalty, it might not be a comparison, but it's just a one-word answer for the viewers to know what type of person we're dealing with.
Okay.
All right. One word that will describe Rotary.
Service.
Okay. One value every Rotarian should have.
Integrity.
Well, very, very fast guess today. Very fast. Okay. Networking or service?
Service.
Which comes first?
Networking.
Okay. A reason someone should visit the Rotary Club of Munye.
Vibe.
Yes, that's it. A coffee meeting or a service project presentation?
Coffee meeting.
Exactly. Last but not least, this one we're going to give you leeway to explain. Your message to someone afraid of joining Rotary.
My message to you who is out there and you wish to join Rotary is that this is the best service organization in the world. And Rotarians are people of action. We do amazing things. Look at polio. Rotary has been able to eradicate polio to about 99%. And the impact is visible. So I encourage you to visit a club near you. Come and give your resources, your expertise, your time. You'll be amazed, when you cause an impact in the community where you live. There's no price to that. The satisfaction you derive from putting a smile on a child's face, someone who's not able to go to school, or someone who's not able to access medical services, or someone who's not able to access clean water, it's amazing to see the impact that Rotarians are causing all over the world. So I invite you to join this prestigious organization, and we'll be available to support you through your journey. Thank you very much.
Our dear viewers, the word of the year is IMPACT. impact. What we are looking for is that impact you are going to give us in your community. Give us your expertise, give us your thoughts, give us your resources. Well, for those that you can share. Ladies and gentlemen, this leads us to the end of this amazing podcast. Don't forget to like, to share, to subscribe, so that you can keep seeing the rest of our interactions on this beautiful platform. Thank you very much, Mr. President.
Thank you, Joshua.
I normally shake the hands of my guests because you don't see these things happening all the time. Mr. President.
Thank
It's
you
been
very
a
much,
pleasure.
Joshua.
Thank
It's been
you
a
so
pleasure
much.
too. Thank you.